we underrate today and we overrate tomorrow. Right? So let's live in the now. Because here we are, we thinking, yes, what we do today will impact tomorrow, but let's stop looking to say, oh, let's save that for tomorrow. Oh, let's do that tomorrow. Or what's happening next week. And let's put more of that focus or emphasis on the now.
Yeah.
Especially with this pandemic, right? We're not sure. We're not promised tomorrow, right? We're not given tomorrow, but what's happening now? What can we control now so that tomorrow can be better? What can we do now so that tomorrow can be brighter?
Welcome, everybody, to Unleash Your Greatness. I'm super excited for this episode. I've got an amazing person on to speak with us, and his name is Elliot Vang. Elliot Vang. I knew I was going to get that. Okay, Elliot Vang. And he is a high-performance coach, certified high-performance coach. And so he is the guy that's going to help you be a high performer in your life. So I'm an achievement coach. I can help you be an achiever. He can help you be a high performer. So I'm excited to welcome him today. He's an all-around fun guy. We talked the other day, and his personality is great. He's going to be super fun. So welcome, Elliot. I appreciate you being on the show.
You said it right the first time, right? Elliot Vang. So you had it right the first time.
I'm horrible with names, so I apologize. But
it's okay. It works out. And that's a lot of pressure you're putting on me, right? To say, "Oh, high performer, let's go." But I'm joking aside. That is what I do, and that's what I am living now, right? It's like, how can I be a high performer every single day and not just have these peaks and valleys and only parts of the day or parts of my life? Like, how can I live that every day? So I'm excited to be here. It's my pleasure to join you on this, and I honor you for allowing me to come on your platform to share.
Really? Yeah. No, I'm excited to have you because, like I say, we talked the other day and it was a fun conversation, and I got to hear some of your backstory. So I want to have you tell a little bit of your backstory, where you went from, where you were, you single mother, 6 siblings, and growing up was not always easy. But I want to hear or have you tell your side of the story to the listeners, and then also how you got to become a high performance coach. And then I really want to dive into what is a high performance coach? What does that mean? And how do you help people get or unleash their greatness? Because that's what the show's all about, is helping people live their greatest self and being better in everyday performance, everyday achievement, everyday, just every day be a little bit better. So I'm going to turn it over to you and tell a little bit about your backstory and where you were to where you are now. So
awesome. Yeah, like again, right. Thank you for being. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be here and share with you. And first of all, I am a husband to my wife and a father to my 2 kids. Right. Before I was like, no, that wasn't a big. It's like, that's a big deal to me now. Right. It's like I didn't put that. I shouldn't say value or importance on it because it was there, but I wasn't announcing it to everyone, right? So I just want to first start out with that. I'm proud of that piece. And then with my mom, right? She had this dream. She had 9 kids. Unfortunately, the 2 older ones died at a young age of malnutrition back in Southeast Asia. So there's 7 of us left. And my mom's dream, right, was to have 7 kids, all 7 of her kids, their spouses and her grandkids all living under one roof. I was like, Mom, that's not possible. Like, what do you mean? Like, how can you have all 7 of your kids plus their spouses plus your grandkids all living under one roof? That's just not possible. Yeah. She's like, yes, it is. Like, I can make that happen. I was like, yeah, maybe if like we each had our own wing, right? It's like we lock our doors and nobody can come in unless they knock or have an invitation or something like that. She's like, okay. The funny thing is, it happened, right? Wow. One time it happened. So this is at a wedding, right? I just want to say it's at a wedding. She had all 7 of her kids, their spouses, and her grandkids all under one roof at one time. It was at a wedding, and my mom doesn't dance. My mom doesn't get a dance floor. She doesn't like to dance. But for some reason, This night, she was dancing, she was happy, she was smiling. And this is the same day that she went and had a dialysis treatment. And in those that know, after having a dialysis treatment, for her especially, she would be out that rest of the day into half of the day the next day, and then kind of get her energy back and do her normal things. But for some reason, this day, dialysis in the morning, wedding in the evening, dancing, smiling. We were taking pictures. We captured these moments, and me at that moment thinking, I've never seen my mom on a dance floor. I don't recall the last time she was this happy. And it was because, and then thinking back about it, she like had all her kids, all her grandkids under one roof at the same time, at the same moment. Wow. And then I still remember that day vividly. And then get a call the next day from my brother, who she lives with. My brother had said, "Hey, mom has fallen and she's not breathing." Mm. And I was like, what? Like, what is going on here? All these thoughts started running through my mind. Like, what is happening? What is going on? 12 hours or so ago, roughly, she was this happy, smiling, joyful person. And now I get this call. So I rushed my wife and kids. I don't recall if we got dressed or not, because this is like sometime in the morning, like 7 or 8 in the morning, middle of February in Minnesota. So it's cold. Yeah, for sure. So I'm not sure. I don't recall us getting dressed. I just said, "Hey, rush in the car." Luckily, I only lived 10 minutes away from my brother at that time. Got in the car, got there. And when we got there, my mom had tubes in her mouth ready. The medics came. They couldn't revive her. And they just said, "This is it. Like, we can't do anything else to help her." And that was one of my darkest moments. One of my moments where I was like, why is this happening? Less than 12 hours ago, she was this happy person. And, I thought that she was going to be around with us for a while. And she was our glue, our rock of our family. And here I was, I'm struggling. And then when I look back at it, that was a defining moment for me and my siblings, because she was the rock of our family. She held our family together. Wherever she was, the family gravitated towards her. And we had a decision to make at that time, right? It's either we continue on with this legacy, honor her, and say we're going to stay together, still include each other in the things we do, or we all go our separate ways, have our own little families, and that's it. So we did make that decision, a conscious decision at that moment, to say, hey, we still want to honor her. We still want to keep this family together. Whatever we do, we'll include each other, because this is what mom would want if she was here. Right. So that was a defining moment for myself and my siblings after her passing.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. And what obviously a very emotional moment for you. You can hear it in your voice as you're talking about your mother, and what a blessing that she was able to have that goal achieved.
Yeah.
Before she passed, right? Of having all of her kids under one roof and her grandkids, and what a blessing for her to be able to experience that. And obviously she was overjoyed by that because of her dancing and everything. But
yeah, yes.
Yeah, it brings goosebumps to me just thinking about what an amazing time that must have been, but it's such a difficult time of her passing. But so it was a defining moment. What was the mindset there of you particularly? Obviously your whole family was suffering and trying to decide how they were going to move forward with it. But what was the mindset of you dealing with that? Such sudden loss of I guess of someone you looked up to, you loved. She's obviously a woman who took care of 7 kids and raised them and nourished them and taught them to be good human beings. And obviously you were very close to her, but what was that, the mindset there, and what did that moment mean, that that defining moment? Obviously you wanted to be close to your family, your siblings still. But what else would you say was the next defining reason for that moment?
It made me appreciate the present, right?
Mm.
Because leading up to that, my schedule was flexible, so I was became more of the point person of um, being like a caregiver and taking my mom to her doctor's appointments and all of that. And I was fortunate. I was super glad that I had those moments with her
Yeah.
because I was able to have conversations with her. I was able to learn more about who she was, why she did the things she did, right? Part of that story was my dad had passed away when I was way younger. When I was 8, my dad passed away, tragic car accident, all of sudden death as well,
Wow.
not expected. Left my mom to raise these 7 kids on her own, playing the role of mom, playing the role of dad, with the equivalency of a second grade reading level.
Wow.
So I was able to have these conversations with her, be present with her, looking back at it, right? And had conversations. Mom, how come you never got remarried? Right? You were young, you were beautiful, you had an opportunity to get remarried. Why didn't you ever get remarried? And at that moment, she shared it was because she's heard stories of like horror stories of stepdads coming in, not loving her kids, not taking care of her kids the way that she would want. So she said, I'll make this sacrifice and say I want to raise my kids the way I want to, and not have a stranger walk into their lives, someone they don't know, someone they didn't call dad before. And she made that sacrifice for us, right? And it made me see like, wow, she put others before her. She put her kids and saying, I need to raise my kids so that they can become happy, so that they become successful. So I was glad that I had those moments with her, to be present with her, to have these conversations. And I look back at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, those are such precious moments for me, because now I value being present even way more than I did when she passed away, right? It's like
Yeah.
being present now is such a big thing for me. It's such a big piece of high performance for me, right? And now that's why I value that so much.
Yeah. So, what an amazing woman to sacrifice her, and not that she wasn't happy, but could have found love
Yeah.
or more happiness, right? Willing to sacrifice that because she was worried about what that could do or affect her children. That really is true love. That's amazing. What an amazing woman. And the fact that you recognize the fact that you need to be in the present and cherish those moments, because there's the saying that the present, or the past is gone, you can't do anything about it, the future is unwritten and you can't worry about it, but the present you can be totally there and enjoy it. And I think that really is pretty powerful, and setting that intention of how
Yes.
you want to be in that moment. There's a lot of play on words there, but the present really is like it's a gift that we have every
Mm-hmm.
moment to enjoy, be grateful, and be happy with what we're able to be in that time frame. So, thank you for sharing that. It's always a great reminder to be aware of that, because I don't know, for myself, I think I often get caught up in, okay, what do I got to get done so that I can have this thing tomorrow, or accomplish this goal, or whatever. And sometimes you forget to enjoy the journey
Yes.
to where you want to get to, and we lose sight of that. So it's a great perspective and great reminder to always be aware of. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, to add a little to that, right? I was listening to a John Maxwell podcast, and this inspired me about, he talked about like tomorrow and the now and the present and living in the present, right? It's like we underrate today and we overrate tomorrow.
Mm,
right? So let's live in the now. Because here we are, we thinking, yes, what we do today will impact tomorrow, but let's stop looking to say, oh, let's save that for tomorrow. Oh, let's do that tomorrow, or what's happening next week, and let's put more of that focus or emphasis on the now.
Yeah.
Especially with this pandemic, right? We're not sure, we're not promised tomorrow, right? We're not given tomorrow, but what's happening now? What can we control now so that tomorrow can be better? What can we do now so that tomorrow can be brighter? Right? So just putting that emphasis more on today and not so much on that tomorrow or next day or next week kind of view.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And to set that intention that, hey, I'm gonna, and I think it, and you and I'm sure you agree with me on this, is that setting that intention in the morning that you're going to live today to the fullest. I I often hear the saying, or we always hear the saying that you only live once, and I don't love that saying. I love that you live every day instead,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you really can live every day and be grateful and have that intention going into each day that, hey, today's going to be good. Sure, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be bumps, there's going to be things that
Yes.
are going to try to mess me up, and I'm going to do my best to account for those or plan for those. But at the end of the day, you can't plan for everything. And all you can do
Mm-hmm.
is really control what you can control. And a lot of that comes down to your attitude about how things are and how they unroll. So, um, yeah, it's beautiful to focus on that for sure. So,
Yeah, right. When you talk about you only live once, then that's where there's that fine line of people getting to that FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And here they are saying yes to everything, yes to everything. But it's also a piece of you have to learn how to say no to other things or say yes to yourself first.
yeah,
And then, let those other pieces fall where they may, right? So when you talk about just you only live once, yeah, fine line of that, because you have to control what you can control and worry about yourself and deal with you, and then those outside factors. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And so I want to kind of put a pin in that saying no
Sure.
sometimes and come back to that. But first of all, I
Yeah.
because yeah, that's such a powerful thing that a lot of people don't understand, is because
Mm-hmm.
so often we feel like we need to be yes people, like we have to say yes to
Mm-hmm.
going to the being a part of the PTA, or we need to say yes to all these commitments that we overcommit ourselves, and then we don't have time to be ourselves. But I want to put a pin in that. I want to come back to it, but before we go there, I want to uh, just hear a little bit of your journey from going from that moment, and there's probably other moments in your life to define where you are at today, but coming
Yes.
to where you decide, hey, I'm going to be a high performance coach. Because most people don't wake up, or they don't look at themselves when they're 8 years old and say, when I grow up, I'm going to be a high performance coach, right?
Yeah.
Usually they're like, I want to be a policeman or a fireman or a doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
uh, so there obviously is somewhat of a journey and a progression to get to the point where you're like, hey, I want to help people. I want to help people be better and be higher performers. And I want to hear a little bit of that journey. Obviously, there's lots of defining moments, I'm sure, but just kind of give us some of the key maybe points that got you to where you are today, so that you are a high performing coach.
Yeah, when I first heard of high performance coaching, right, I was like, what is this? I didn't know much about the life coaching industry. I come from an athletic coaching background,
Mm,
so some of those lines, some of them over cross and that piece, but
sure.
it took me 3 years to take that step, right? Because it's a big investment. It's something I didn't know any much about. Like, I had all these fears come in. Can I do it? These doubts. Oh my gosh, that's not for me. This is too much. I can't invest all this money in myself. And it wasn't until I went to a live event, and it was a 4-day live event. The first 2 days were awesome, like mind blowing. Room was rocking, room was shaking. It was held at a hotel, and we were shaking the whole hotel. I'm pretty sure, right?
I know.
Thousands of people there.
I know what event you're probably talking about. And the whole floor bounces because everybody's
Yeah,
bouncing
right.
around and stuff. It's intense.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fun, but
So the first 2 days I was there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Because I'm an energetic guy. I love to bring energy. I love to have fun. And being there, being immersed in that environment was just like mind blowing. I was like, okay, this is it. First 2 day, that was awesome, right? Come third day, that morning, I didn't want to wake up. I stayed in bed. I was crying. I was in the fetal position
wow.
because I knew if I went, then I would have to say yes to myself and make that commitment.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready to make that commitment, or I didn't want to say yes. So I was defeated. I was down. I was broken. I said, okay, let me put on some music. I'm a music kind of person. I like to listen to tunes to kind of get me going. Put on music, start listening to it, you know, 20, 25 minutes in. It's like, okay, how about just get dressed and just start going and just go there. Go to the live event because the past 2 days were awesome and see how it is. So I eventually got up, got dressed, worked my way towards to the ballroom and immersed myself into that environment. And I was like, so glad I made this decision. Perfect, right? Got there, energy was rocking. I was like up and dancing and moving again.
Right.
And then we were sharing in a small group, and there was a group of 5 of us or so. And we were sharing and talking about what we liked and challenges that we were dealing with. And right after the done sharing, we had a break. So one lady pulled me aside and said, Elliot, I just want to let you know you're the most inspiring person in this room. And I said, looking around like, me? I'm the most inspiring person in this room. There's like thousands of people here. There's like coaches and all these mentors and all these other people, but me, like telling myself that. She's like, no, you are the most inspiring person. I was like, how come? Like, why? Do you mind sharing? She's like, because when you share so authentically and you share so openly.
Cool.
And that gave me that extra push, that extra validation to say, oh, okay, this is what I should be doing. This is what I'm meant to be doing. Because I have been saying no to myself for the past 3 years, telling myself I can't do this, I'm not good enough, whatever. Right. So then I made that decision, say, okay, this is the next step I'm taking. But funny thing is, I already gone there thinking, telling myself, I'm not gonna buy anything. I'm leaving my credit cards at home, and I'm just gonna like go there and take notes and learn from that. So luckily for me, the team was willing to work with me to say, okay, we'll work with you once you get back. We understand your story. And I was ashamed. I was like, I didn't want to go tell him my story. Like, oh, I didn't want to buy anything. But I was like, no, just be authentic, right? Just share and just let them know what's real. And I just said, hey, this is my story. I said I wasn't going to buy anything, but now I want to buy something. But I left all my cards at home. Can we work something out so that once I get back, then I can move forward with this? So like, sure, perfect. And then that's kind of what has led me to where I am today.
That's awesome. So, yeah. So kind of circling back to that, saying no, but then you also said something that I found really interesting is you were saying yes to everybody else, but you were saying no to yourself, and you had to learn to say yes to yourself. And I think that lots of people don't understand, or maybe deep down they understand, but they don't. They're scared to say yes to themselves, and they'll say yes to everybody else in the world. They'll do everything. They'll bend over backwards. They're in charge of everything under the sun, but they'll fail to say yes to themselves.
Yes.
And that's a key component of why people don't become a high performer or they don't succeed in life, is because they say yes to all these other external things that aren't going to either bring them happiness, joy, or they're not going to move them towards their goals or the lifestyle they want. And sure, maybe they feel they need to say yes out of obligation, but really, does it serve them? Does it serve? I mean, if it's something you're passionate about, sure, it serves you. But if it's something that you're just kind of like, I'm saying it because they asked me and I'm not really passionate about it, it's not going to move me towards my goals, then we need to learn to say no to some of those things. And I
Hmm.
heard a beautiful saying a while ago that's like, yes, we'll get you out of Egypt, but no, we'll take you to the promised land, right?
Yeah.
Referencing the Bible and the children of Israel when they had to leave Egypt, but to get to the promised land, they had to learn to say no to their adulterous ways and things like that. And not that we need to be saying no, but we need to
Yes.
be willing to say no to certain things in
Correct.
order to go to that next level in our life. And we need to be willing to say yes to ourselves and be willing to put ourselves out there in situations where we can grow and and I know exactly what you're talking about because the investment to become a high performance coach is not a small chunk of change, right? For
No. Yeah.
it's a
Well, at
fairly
least for me, it wasn't, right.
yeah. I mean, for me, that's I mean, it's a substantial investment in yourself. So I understand exactly where you're coming from when you're saying like, I left my credit cards at home. I'm not buying anything. I'm not going to pay,
Yeah.
whatever. And so kudos to you to say yes and to put yourself in that situation where you're like, I am ready to take my life to the next level and become a coach so that I can help other people be better because service is everything, right? That's how we show love. That's how we give back. That's how we create a ripple effect of change in this world. If we're not willing to do that, guess what? We're just living the same crap over and over again that we're dealing with day in and day out. And if we can
Hmm.
be that change in the world, it starts with us. So,
And Anna, even before helping others, right? I,
right.
I'm so glad I took the step because I helped myself first,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
My marriage wasn't in a good spot. I wasn't present with my kids. I mean, my relation, I didn't have healthy relationships with the closest people around me. And with me taking this step, it's changed. It's been a game changer for me, right? So that I can help others around me, right? I like to use the analogy of when we're in a plane and the flight attendants are talking. And when an oxygen mask drops down, what do they tell us, right? Put the mask on yourself first,
Right.
and then those around us. We have that tendency to mask drop. Oh, little kids around us, put it on the little kids first. Yeah, you might be able to put it on two kids, but by then, who else can you help afterwards? You can't even help yourself. How can you help those around you anymore? Right? But if we put that mask on ourselves first, we could go around and help those around us even more so, right? Tenfold.
Yeah.
So I would love to just add that on to what you were talking about taking care of ourselves first, saying yes to ourselves first,
Yeah.
so that we can serve and help those around us.
Absolutely. Great analogy. I love that because yeah, it all starts from within. That's where change
Mm-hmm.
comes from. So, uh, yeah, beautiful. My wife and I in our company, our coaching company, we have a saying that says "Be better, do better." So as you're better inside, you do better in the world. But it all starts from within you. That's where the change really begins. And if you're not willing to work on yourself and say yes to yourself, then you can't help other people. You can't love other people fully. Like you were saying that you weren't fully connected with your wife and your
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
And when you said
I
yes,
get it, right?
yeah,
I'm a recovering people pleaser too, right? I was helping everyone else, and all my energy was going to everywhere else. And then by the time I got to take care of me, I was like, oh, I'm so tired. I just
right,
want to crash. I don't want to do anything. I don't even have the energy to eat. Right? It's like I've been helping everybody else,
right,
and here I am. I'm suffering. I'm not happy. I don't feel joyful. I can't spread that joy with others because I don't have the energy anymore because I'm so exhausted by my to do whatever I needed to do.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I hear you. And so, what did your wife? I'm just curious what your wife thought of you saying, "Hey, I want to spend this huge amount of money to become a high performance coach."
She was like, hey, she was very supportive of it. She was like, if this is what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But I want you to be serious and I want you to make that commitment to it. Right.
Nice.
Because it's a big investment, right? And it's the biggest investment I made in myself at a one time chunk kind of deal, right?
Sure.
And I was like, wow. And it made me think like, is this something I really want to do? Is this something that I should do? Because I don't know much about this life coaching industry. I was like, oh my gosh, is this something I don't want to do? And I was like, no, because I've been thinking about it, just haven't made that decision to move forward or take that step. I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is the one. Yeah, she was super supportive of it.
That's cool. That's great. She
Yeah,
probably,
that is, yeah.
well, and she
Because
probably,
if she wasn't, she would have talked me out of it.
yeah. Well, and she probably is like, you know what, we do need something to change our relationship, and maybe this is it. And so she probably, you know, whenever we are ready to make that leap in our life, there's always a level of resistance. Like you were saying, you had that breakdown in the hotel room before going down to
Mm-hmm.
the ballroom
Mm-hmm.
to day 3 of the event. And we always have that resistance. And thankfully, your wife wasn't a part of that resistance. You were the biggest part of that
Yeah.
resistance.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
but we always have some resistance that is going to come upon us. Like, oh my gosh. And I love the story of Chuck Yeager, the guy who broke the sound barrier the very first time. And, you know, he's cruising at this speed that's just right before the sound barrier is broken, and the plane starts rattling like crazy. It's going wild, and he's like, he radios down. He's like, what should I do? And they're like, I don't. The people on the ground are like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going to happen. We've never done this before. And he's like, I'm going to go for it. And he pushes the throttle and he breaks that sound barrier, and there's a sonic boom, and people on the ground are like, what just happened? Did he blow up, or right? All they hear is this kind of, you know, boom.
Yes.
And as soon as he pushed through that, everything in the plane went completely calm. Once he hit that speed and pushed through that sound barrier, everything went calm. And that's the same in life, man. It's like,
that is,
like we feel that resistance and we're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then we push through, and it's like, man, clarity comes.
yes.
Everything changes, and we stretch ourselves to a new level of ability for sure. So I love the story. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, two big things you said there, right? Clarity comes. Like,
Yep.
you're so much more clear about who you want to be, what you want to do, right?
Yep.
And the other piece you talked about is like just having that joy now. It's like you can enjoy life and not hear all that other chatter that was going around, or all the resistance from other people that you start believing in, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're right, I can't do it, I shouldn't do it, this is not right for me, right? And then now all of that's out the door. So
Yeah, awesome. And you can tell, like, you radiate joy, and your energy is super upbeat and fun. So you can tell you love what you do. So I want to ask you, for those who don't know, what is a high performance coach? Like, what does that mean? Because I think a lot of people are like, what? I don't know. Like
yeah.
what, he helps me like with my diet. So like,
Yeah.
you know, but it's so much more encompassing than that. So I'd love to share with you kind of maybe a definition, or what your thoughts are on what you do as a high performance coach to help people really get to the next level in their life, and and success or performance can be different for everybody, but ultimately it all comes down to a few key things, I think.
Yeah, and I love talking about this topic, and I love it when people ask me about it, because I just enjoy so much talking about it. Usually the first thing people think about is high performance is like athletes, right? Oh, athletes are high performers, they're the top of their game. Yes, that is an example of high performance, right? For me, I would say high performance is getting to a high level of performance, and being able to sustain that and maintain that over the long term.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not those, oh, I'm going to like work 60, 70-hour work weeks and crush it for the next week or two. And you're at this high, of course. But then what happens after that, right? You come crashing down because you're exhausted, you're tired, you're overwhelmed, you're stressed. Now coming back down, right? So what is it that you can do to maintain that over the long term is what high performance is about.
Yeah. Awesome. And it really comes down to taking care of yourself so that you can perform over the long
Totally.
run, right? It's like and you know this analogy, the race car, right? Is they don't take a pit stop because they need the pit stop. They take the pit stop so that they can continue to go around. Because they wait till they need the pit stop, then they're already like they're out of gas, or their tires are blown, or whatever. They take the pit stop to make sure they can keep going at the pace that they're going. So it's so important to take care of yourself, to understand what your needs are as an individual, to say yes to yourself in many respects, like we were already talking, and just be a better performer all around. And I think people think that high performance should be just about like, I'm going to do better at my job, or I'm going to do better at uh, school, or whatever. But really, it's just all around, like you say, those valleys, those dips and lows get more like just little,
Yeah.
even out almost completely, because you don't have all these like, oh, I went on vacation, I'm awesome, it was so fun, and then you come home and you're like, oh, I got to go back to work, this sucks, right? you,
Yeah.
you can find appreciation in all aspects of it, and enjoy it uh, more fully. So yeah, it's a beautiful definition. And so as a coach, as a high performance coach, you go in, somebody contacts you, or you reach out and say, hey, I'd love to help you in your life. What is the main things you focus on first to get them like in the right state of mind, or the right mindset, if you will, to get them focused on, okay, what do we need to do to focus on first to get you to become a high performer, so you can be, better in your life, right?
Yeah. Right before going there, I just want to also add that high performance isn't, like you said, it's not just about your career, right? It's your health and wellness.
Yep.
It's a holistic approach, right? So it's not just saying, oh, CEOs or business owners or athletes can be high performers. No, stay-at-home parents. Like, what is it? What does high performance mean for you as a stay-at-home parent, right? So now going back to your question is, one, just taking an overall assessment of their life, right? Seeing where they're at, and assessing in all different areas, right? The relationship, finances, health, all of that, so that you could get a better understanding or overall picture of what's happening in their life. And it's to say it's okay where you're at and be comfortable with where you're at, because you are where you're at. You can't change that, right? And be comfortable. But if you want to get to the next level, if you want to get to the next step, what does that look like? What do we need to do to help you get to the next step, that next level?
Yeah.
So just taking an overall assessment of where they're at currently
Nice. And
will be step one.
yeah, no, and that self-assessment sometimes can be pretty hard, I would think. At
Mm-hmm.
least it is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it is for most
Yeah.
people. Sit back and be like, yeah, I suck in my relationships right now, or I could be better at, uh,
Yeah.
my habits, or I could be better at my finances, or whatever, right? That self-evaluation can be kind of a hard thing to stare down in the mirror, and really look at yourself and say, how am I doing? And a coach can help you get clear on that. Again, coming back to clarity, because they can see things that maybe you can't see in yourself. And so I'm a firm believer in coaches. I'm a coach myself, and I see the value in it. But having that outside perspective, because sometimes it is hard to do that self evaluation. People that can coach you on, well, how are you feeling in this area? What's that look like to you? What's maybe a vision that you want in the future to make that better, and you want to improve upon, is such a powerful tool to have. So
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
Because the best athletes in the world, the best singers in the world, they all have coaches,
Oh
right? They
yeah.
have a voice coach, they have a performance coach, a head coach, to say, hey, you're so close, you're too attached to the situation and you can't see it from that 10,000, 20,000 foot view. I can. This is what I'm seeing. Now, if you just make this small adjustment, minor adjustment here and there, and seeing what that does, right? And then they get to see, okay, if I take half a step to my right, how does that feel? Oh my gosh, that changed my jump shot. That changed my trajectory of where I was going. That changed my angle. And then they'd be like, oh, perfect, right? So when you're so close and attached, you don't see those things. And I'm a big believer in coaches as well. It's like having that coach to see from a different lens, to say, hey, this is where you are now. This is where you want to go. It's all it takes is a small, simple, minor adjustment, and we could get there.
And I would say to just to add to that, that those high performing athletes or singers or actors or whatever, although they've had coaches that help them be better with their voice or better with their performance and their training and stuff like that, the ones that probably really succeed at the peak levels also have somebody who's going to help them with their thinking, their mindset, their
Mm-hmm.
approach to just looking at life in general. Because if all you're doing is like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run and be the strongest person in the world, but you don't have like the mindset, the
Yeah,
ability to focus on like, what you really want and how to get past like failure and disappointment and those types of things, you can only succeed so long. I mean,
correct.
you look at people like Michael Jordan who has a mindset of like, I have made so many winning shots because I've missed so many more
Yeah,
losing shots, right?
yeah,
And so it's just that mindset. And I guarantee, and I don't know for sure, but I would think that he had either a coach or a mentor or someone that helped him focus not only just his abilities as an athlete, but his abilities as a thinker and a mindset of how to win and be successful and a high performer. So, um, yeah, that's just, I guess, my 2 cents I want to add to that. But
yeah. This is a guy who got cut from his high school basketball team, right? And to be able to make it to where he is at, to be considered the best ever at his game, right? Just like you said, having that mindset piece of, oh my gosh, I got cut. Now, how do I overcome that so that I could get better and keep going to become the best, right?
right,
So that's a great piece there. You touched about his mindset there.
yeah. So the self evaluation is critical. What would you say the next step that you when you're working with somebody? And I know you don't need to, you know, divulge everything here in this
Yeah.
session as a coach, but I think there are key strategies that people need to be aware of self evaluation, and you don't necessarily need a coach to self evaluate. Any of these tools you can do by yourself,
Yeah, totally.
but having somebody that outside perspective to help walk you through those steps is so much more powerful. And what would be number two that you would work with once they kind of understand where they are and where they want to go?
Yeah, another piece would be putting them into the spot where they can see themselves succeeding at whatever they want to succeed at, right? And seeing them at that peak, at that top of the mountain, wherever they're at. And say if one person is, oh, I want to get in better shape. And so I want to lose 20 pounds by X day, right?
Right.
Okay, putting themselves in that position, saying, how is that going to feel like? What does that look like? And it could say, oh my gosh, I could have so much more fun. I could play with my kids. I could play with my grandkids. My back won't hurt. My knees won't hurt. Having all of that built in to have that feeling, oh, perfect. Because I want you to feel that. I want you to have that joy piece, right? So that when they come back and start building these habits to get to where they want to go, they can remind themselves of, oh, yes, this is tough, this is hard. But when I saw myself at that spot, I didn't have pain, I enjoyed my life, I didn't have aches. I love that feeling. So that's what's going to keep them going, right? That's going to keep them moving because it's going to be a struggle. There's going to be challenges. All of that's going to come up. But it's building in these habits so that they can keep that momentum going. So they keep moving the needle towards where they want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's such a powerful thing for people, anybody, when they
Yeah.
go out to do something is to visualize or see themselves in that space where they want to be, because our thoughts create emotion, like you said, or feeling. Those emotions create action, and action creates our results. So it all starts with like, what do I want to create? We have to create that first in our mind, and then that creates the emotion to create the action, and ultimately gets us the results. So yeah,
Yeah, it's almost like that having that little good angel on our shoulder, right? It's like here, this angel is whispering in our ears saying, oh, you could do it. Like, keep moving. Remember how it's going to feel when you get to that point. Remember the joy, remember the pain that you won't be feeling anymore. And that little angel on our shoulder kind of helps us. Oh yeah, you're right. Like, kind of keep moving and getting, working towards where you want to go,
Yeah.
who you want to be. Right. Yeah.
Yep. And ultimately we're gonna sometimes have that other little devil on the other
Oh
side.
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
can't do it. You can't do it, right? And we have to
Yes.
be willing to shut those thoughts down and listen to the angel instead of the little devil telling us, hey, you're not
Yeah.
smart enough, you're not good enough, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're a failure, you're all these things that we tell ourselves so oftentimes that stop us from listening to that little angel saying, you can do this, you can do it. And sometimes, again, coming back to the coaching, it's that coach that will help create that ability
Mm-hmm.
to say, you need to stop with the negative self-talk and focus on the positive self-talk. Visualize yourself going there, go out and start creating that life, take action and move towards it. So yeah, I totally love that analogy of the devil and
Yeah.
the angel on the shoulders telling us, because we all fight it, we all have that, you know.
Yeah, right. It's hard to. I mean, even for me, when people say, "Hey, can you just stop doing that?" It's like, well, it keeps coming up in my mind. It keeps coming up saying, "I can't do it. I'm not good enough. It needs to be perfect." Now it's saying, "Okay, what's another option instead of saying, stop thinking like that and start thinking like this." So let's say, "Hey, what does it feel like when you do that? What would it feel like once you accomplish that? Or what does that feel like when you get to that point?" So then now they can say, oh, they could build in that belief of, oh, I can do it. It feels great. It feels like this or that, instead of saying, oh, it's so hard to get that negative thought out of my mind. But let's build in some positive thinking into your mind so that you can see that result, so that you can keep moving that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So powerful. Definitely everybody can do a little bit better. I know I can. I know
Mm.
there's times where I wake up and think, you know what? You just are not feeling it today. Or man, I gotta get on this interview, and I've got this breakout on my face and I look like a dork. And you just have to say, you know what? It's going to be an amazing interview. It's going to be an awesome
Yeah.
time chatting with and having a conversation with Elliot, and I'm excited for it. And put that self talk behind you and focus on the positive, like you said. I love that. Uh, so the positive self talk, having a vision for where you want to go, and then any other tool or strategy that you would say would be the next step to helping someone unleash the greatness within themselves.
Yeah, I would say for me, right, how I win my day is the night before,
Yeah,
right? So the night before, I'm already looking at my calendar. What do I have coming up? What do I have blocked off? What don't I have blocked? What's important that I didn't block off? So that I'm not going to bed having this anxiety attack of, oh my gosh, I need to do this or I need to do that tomorrow. But it's like, no, you already did that before you went to bed, laying out what's happening the next day, so that when you do wake up, you can just, however your morning routine is, right? However you want to build that in. It's not a one size fits all, whatever works for you,
sure.
right? So I already built in that to my day the night before, looking at my schedule, waking up, looking at my schedule again, just to say, okay, yes, this is what I had planned, because it hasn't changed, right? It's not going to change. And then being intentional about it. Am I going to leave my day to chance, to randomness, to whatever happens, happens kind of thing? No, because I don't want to leave it up to chance. I don't want to leave it up to randomness. I still want to have that agency or that control over my schedule, saying block time for family, block time for me, block time appointment, schedule, podcast of Adam, right? It's like my day is already set. So then I don't have to worry about or try to memorize of, oh my gosh, I had something at 3 o'clock. What is it that I had 3 o'clock again? And now here you are trying to go in your mind of going off memory. And there's been times where I've gone off memory and say, I would double book, triple book. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I say to that person or this person? So just being intentional about that piece of blocking off time, scheduling in time for your hobbies, for yourself, for business, for work, for play, right? For your kids, your spouse, like build all of that in. And you don't have to be as rigid as, oh, this time I'm doing this with this person. No, it could be flexible too, but like I'm blocking up this time with my wife. And whatever we do during that time, we do. But this time is just for her. Or I'm blocking off this time just for my kids. Right. So being intentional about that piece.
Yeah, no, super powerful. And I'm a firm believer of you win your day the night before. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
start it the night before. I'm the same way. I lay out my workout clothes so they're ready to go in the morning, so that when the alarm goes off, I'm not like, oh, I gotta find my workout clothes or whatever. I have a mug that I put water in. It's ready to go in the morning. I lay out my journal, my planner, and all that stuff so that it's all ready to go. My book that I'm reading, and yeah, setting yourself up for success the night before
Yes.
is such a key factor. And then, like you say, you can wake up in the morning, you know exactly what you're doing first thing, and you can set the intention for the rest of the day so that you can, hopefully set apart blocks of time to work on your passions, your relationships, uh, your your work or whatever you need to get done. But then you have so much free time, because when you block off time and you just like you tackle that project or that thing that you need to get done, you have more free time because you already know what you're working on. You've accomplished,
Yeah.
you can accomplish more in half a day than most people will accomplish in a full day.
Yeah.
You learn that one concept of block time, focus,
Mm-hmm.
get that thing done that needs to get done. That one domino. I just finished a book called The One Thing. I don't know if you've read it, but it's a fantastic book about, what's the one thing you can do today to move yourself to the next goal or next level. Or if you do it, that all other things don't need to be done. Like just having that mindset of get that one thing done that's going to move you closer to the
Yes.
goal or the lifestyle is a powerful train of thought. So
And
uh,
that's such a big piece too, right? Because we look at it and sometimes we put too much on our to-do list or whatever list we need to complete. And it's like, it's so overwhelming. Here we've done 10 of the 20 things on there. And here we are saying, oh my gosh, my day was so hard. I didn't even complete my list. I didn't complete my to-do list. Now, if you would have, like you said, what if there was just one thing or two things? And
right.
now you can say, oh, I completed, now I'm done. Then you get that feeling of, oh yeah, I put two things on there, done, move on, next thing, right? So sometimes it's overwhelming when we put too much on our to-do list or list to complete. So I love that one thing that you're talking about there.
Yeah, it's a great concept and tool that I've found very helpful in my day is, what's that one thing? And Timothy Ferriss, he talks about it. What's
Yeah.
the one thing that I can do today that all other dominoes, if you will
Mm-hmm.
take care of themselves? And I think it's really quite a powerful, because we try to squeeze so much into one day sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Yeah.
you overcommit, you whatever, and yeah, just can't.
We all only have 24 hours, right? Nobody has more hours or less, right? We all have 24 hours. So
Right.
how is it that we've seen people so productive and here we are struggling with just complete one or two things, right? Because
Yeah.
they're intentional, they have their days set out, right? I
Yeah.
just want to touch on one other thing. You talked about alarm. Like it's been almost a year since I've slept without an alarm because I forgot who it was now. When they like when you wake up to an alarm, what does an alarm usually do? It's a smoke alarm, fire alarm. It gets us in this mind of chaos or oh my gosh, what's going on? Like all hell breaks loose kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yep.
I haven't used an alarm for almost a year. If you
Wow.
do use an alarm, I would say use something that is soothing or that you can listen to so that you could wake up in that more peaceful state of mind. Because that's what works for me, right?
Yeah.
Because when I think about alarm, it's like, oh my gosh, chaos, what's going on? Like just what's going on, and kind of thing. So I don't use it. I haven't used an alarm for almost a year. And I would say those who try it, right? If it works for you, perfect. If it doesn't, then try something else.
Awesome. No, I love that. I do I do set an alarm just because not regularly. Actually, very little do I actually wake up to an alarm, because usually I wake up
You
before
might wake up before it. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but I do set it just in case, because I do have
Yeah.
I want to get up. The morning time is my me time. So that's like when
Correct.
I can really focus on my, my personal growth and, reading and meditating and things,
Yeah.
exercising. And so I don't want to miss out on that morning time that I have
Yes.
with myself. But no, I love that. I probably should do better at setting something that's, some music that's going to wake me up, that's going to be more soothing and stuff, and get me in the right frame of mind. So that's a great tool or a great strategy for sure that I will be trying in the future. So awesome.
Yeah. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I will. So, just real quick, I want to anybody who wants to find you, Elliot, where can they find you if they're interested in learning more about becoming a higher performer, hiring you as a coach, or things that you talk about, share, or anything like that? Where can they find you and just connect with you?
Yeah, awesome, right? You can connect with me at my website, elliotvang.com. That's Elliot with two L's and two T's, okay? And then VANG.com. On there, I have some free gifts on there as well, and offer a free call, right? Schedule a call. This is a no obligation call type thing, just to learn more about what high performance is about and learn about yourself as well, right? To get that assessment of who you are, where you want to go, where you currently and see what next steps can be for you. So yeah, they can connect me on my website.
Awesome. Um, and I would urge anybody who feels like maybe they're stuck in maybe a rut, or maybe they feel like they need a little bit boost in their performance, to reach out to Elliot, go to his website, book that free call. Because man, he's just an amazing personality. He's got a great energy, and he's going to be able to just blow you like out of the water for how you can become a higher performing person, and just greater love and connection in your life. And we all want that. We all want more vibrancy and love and joy and happiness. And that's what really it's all about. So you call it high performance, I call it high achievement. It's an amazing thing. So reach out to Elliot, and you can find him at his website. I will be sure to put that in the link below this podcast and on my YouTube, so that you can find him and go out and just be better, people. Like, that's what it's all about. The more you work on yourself, the more you create that ripple effect that goes out and helps other people around you. So any last words, Elliot, before we sum it up?
Yeah, I just want to say to people listening to this, is like, go be yourself, right? Keep the focus and stop comparing yourself to others, because then that's where your focus goes. Keep the focus on yourself and be yourself and grow yourself, so that you can get to the next level. You can get to where you want to go, right? Be that better person, better spouse, better husband, better wife, better dad, better mom, right? There is more in you, and it's already in you. You just got to dig a little deeper and find it within you, okay?
Awesome. Thanks so much for being on the show. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and everybody go and check out Elliot at his website, and be sure to schedule that strategy call with him.
Yes, definitely do that.
Sure.
Yeah, and, Adam, it's been a pleasure. I've had fun. All right, it's been a great conversation with you.
Yeah, for sure. And so everybody, thanks for joining us today, and go out there and be better so you can do better in life.